And welcome to The Gathering. I am Brittany.
I am Corlisha.
And I am Janelle, and we are super excited about the information that we have for you today. Mother's May is upon us, okay? We are talking everything mommyhood in this beautiful month of May. And today we have some beautiful women with us. What did you call them, Brittany?
They are our panel, our expert panel of new mommy experts.
Yes, our expert mommies. And so we'll let them introduce themselves really quickly.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Takesha.
Hi, y'all. My name is Felicia.
Hey, I'm Ladan.
Welcome, ladies, to The Gathering. We're so happy to have you as our gathered guest. We all know these ladies. They are our close friends and family members, and they are also new moms. So they have made up our panel of new mom experts, along with our gathered girl, Janelle. So today, Corlisha and I are joining the panel. We're not mothers, but we are mental health advocates and practitioners. So we wanted to come and talk about new mommy mental health a little bit. This is such a vast topic, so there's no way we can hit everything in such a short amount of time. Well, we wanted to come and bring some information that we thought could be helpful. We wanted to debunk some of the myths, have some maybe uncomfortable conversation, but in a safe space, because we wanted to normalize some of the different topics that fall within mommy mental health. And then, of course, leave you guys with some tips for promoting your own mental health. Cor, did you want to start with some of the stats that we found when it comes to mental health?
Of course, yeah. So like Brittany said, we're just so happy. First of all, we're so happy to have you back, Janelle. Welcome back to The Gathering. We've been doing our best to hold it down without you.
Thank you so much. I love that I'm back. I love you ladies, and I missed you guys. I did.
Oh, we missed you too. Of course, as long as she wanted to be out to be with her beautiful family, we were totally okay with that, because we know that pregnancy and both pre, during, and post-pregnancy is such an impactful time. And it's a time that so many mothers, some at varying levels, but it's a time that your body and your mind both are going through so many changes. One of the stats that we found is that 1 in 5 women develop some type of pregnancy-related mental health condition. So that means that if we have 4 beautiful mothers here today, but if we had just one more, at least one of you guys would have developed one of these conditions. So I think that is an absolutely staggering statistic. So I think we hear a lot about like postpartum depression, but that's one of the very common pregnancy-related mental health, but it could also be postpartum anxiety, OCD, as well as in rare cases, postpartum psychosis.
We thought it was really important to bring that statistic because like we said, we have 4 moms here, but if we just added just one more, then based on statistics, at least one of you would experience symptoms related to either PPA, PPD, or one of the other conditions that Corlisha mentioned. And then just generally speaking, 1 in 4 individuals has some sort of struggle with a mental health disorder anyway. So that means that one of us has some sort of struggle, and that's just per statistics. So we wanted to normalize that you are not alone. Corlisha and I, again, aren't mothers, but we presume that the journey of new motherhood can sometimes feel a little bit alone, sometimes a little isolating. In the middle of the night, you're up by yourself with your baby, not knowing what to do. If you are a first-time new mommy trying to figure it out, and if I'm not mistaken, all of you are first-time new moms, right? Yeah. So that can feel just really isolating, especially if maybe some of your friends or family members aren't going through it at the same time. You're you were accustomed to some group cohesion because you or your friends or loved ones had something in common, but now you have something that sets you apart. So we wanted to just kind of normalize that. And then again, 1 in 8 moms, they suffer from postpartum depression, something that we kind of touched on. So again, this is just to normalize the fact that mental health for moms, for new moms, for first-time new moms is something that is very common, but oftentimes not talked about enough. And so we wanted to bring that conversation to the forefront.
Absolutely. And I think what's important, I know that you guys all have, like Brittany said, like you guys are friends and family. So I know you guys have wonderful supports and wonderful family, but our goal is to, not everyone is so lucky to have such valuable resources. And so we wanted to also take this opportunity to share with people who may not have such a supportive group and who may not know where to go or resources or have people to ask questions, to be able to access valuable information just so they can have more insight into what may or may not be happening to them that they're not aware of. So as Brittany said, we are not mothers, but I haven't been around a lot of people who have been expecting in my life. So most of what I see from pregnancy is on TV or from afar. And so I think that we all kind of have an idea of what it might be like or what it might feel like. And so I'm guessing I want to kind of hear from you guys, like what was one thing that was unexpected about the journey to becoming a mother? I know that there can be changes with your body. There could be changes in your relationship with your significant other or your family. I've heard a lot of new moms say you kind of hear that you will bond with your baby, like in the first moments, you'll just know. But I do know that that's not everybody's experience. So just kind of wanting to get you guys' take on like something that maybe was told to you or something that you thought, but the unexpected happened, or was it just as you expected?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that a little bit simply because when I found out I was pregnant versus when I thought about being pregnant before, I was looking forward to going out with my friends and my family, just kind of being rained and showered upon with love and free meals and new clothes, if that was necessary for my pregnancy journey, and being able to kind of share with people. And because of the pandemic, because of COVID, it was the total opposite for me. It was extremely isolating. I was no longer even seeing my coworkers daily. I was definitely not seeing my family who lives in another state. It was literally me and my husband in a house for months after finding out, that we were pregnant, and then being nervous to even go out into public because of it. So for me, it felt like it should have been more like inclusive of my tribe, of the people that I love and would want to be around me. And in reality, it was really isolating for me, and I struggled with feeling isolated and alone.
I can say that I expected, because of all the mommy bloggers and Instagram and how pregnancy is even portrayed in the media. Sometimes it's just kind of like this, like, oh, you're pregnant and then you have the baby. The in between, like the messy middle, like nobody really like dives into that. I feel like in a really transparent way, because I remember continuously saying to myself, nobody told me this. Nobody told me that this was going to happen. Nobody warned me about this or let me know that I would feel this way, because it was up and down. Like one day I had just enough strength to make it. And the next day I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to make it the rest of the 6 months. I was nauseous like the whole pregnancy, morning sickness. And I had that like for the first 6 months. And so I did not like being pregnant. I really dealt with that feeling because I thought that I was going to love it. I expected to be in love with that whole process, but I really had to dig deep and find gratitude, because my body, I felt like, was betraying me. And on top of the morning sickness, there were so many other things happening to my body and to my skin and to my butt and all other parts of me. I was rubbing creams on every body part imaginable. And so I was in my feelings a lot dealing with that. So that's one thing that I feel like I couldn't have been prepared for, but also nobody was real with me about that.
I totally agree with that. Feeling isolated, feeling like there was a lot of things that I didn't expect or didn't know was going to happen. And just with the switch of a day or a night or an hour, feeling really good based on how I was, and then feeling really low and depressed. I mean, I read and heard a lot about postpartum depression and postpartum mental health. But during pregnancy is where I really struggled with my mental health. It was a surprise. I was not planning to get pregnant. I was not supposed to be pregnant. And then I have this pregnancy. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? And then I tossed with that for a while. And then on top of that, the pregnancy was just a really difficult pregnancy. I felt like, like Felicia said, my body was betraying me. I mean, I was a generally healthy person before, but then everything that I could have during pregnancy, I had, gestational diabetes, high blood pressure, pregnancy carpal tunnel, like stuff you never heard about was happening. And I was just like, oh my God, did I make the right decision in deciding to move forward with this pregnancy? And of course, you naturally go through those, your hormones are all over the place too while you're pregnant. But once I delivered my baby, I didn't have that instant bond like Carlisha had mentioned. Some people say because he was taken away from me right away too, taken to NICU. So I didn't get to have that moment with him. And it was a couple of days actually before I even got to hold him. And of course I loved him and I felt the need to protect him, but that gushy, like, oh I love you, this is my love. And, that wasn't happening for me, so now I'm there. It took a while. We were getting to know each other. It's this whole new being in my life. And it took us some time to get to know each other and have that mushy, pushy, gushy love that we have now.
Oh, I love that, LaDan. I love that.
I would say one thing that I didn't expect was just to have pregnancy blues. Like once I got home, I thought I was just going to be home. I was going to be happy. I have a baby. And honestly, the first thing I did when I got home was cried. Like boohoo, cried. I called. I said I wasn't supposed to have a C-section. I'm not supposed to be hurting right now. Like I was just so shocked that I was just so emotional, and I guess like a negative way. It's not negative now, but when I was looking at it, I looked at it negatively. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying. I had a surgery. My baby is here. I can barely like sit up to feed her. Mm-hmm. It was just overwhelming for me. And honestly, I didn't even call them pregnancy blues until I called my mother-in-law and I called my mom, and they're like, oh, that's completely normal. Go ahead and cry. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Just continue to talk to everybody. But honestly, that was just the hardest part for me. I didn't expect it to affect me mentally. Like I thought that I would be fine. I was just gonna bond with the baby. We were just gonna start reading books to her and feed her every time she cried. But it didn't happen like that. I think I cried more than the baby the first night I was home. Like she was sleeping and I'm just in the bed crying like, oh, this happened to me. But of course I got over it, but it was very hard.
Mm-hmm. But to kind of piggyback just a little bit off of what you said, when I came home from the hospital, I remember waking up one day and I was really swollen after delivery, extremely swollen, so swollen that it hurt to touch my legs. I had compression socks on, and even the compression socks felt terrible because it felt like it was cutting into this huge leg that I had. But anyway, I remember my mom was like, she was here for us shortly after we had Bella, and she was like, oh, Bella's hungry. I had just climbed the stairs with my sore, swollen legs. And my mom was downstairs and I didn't want her to have to come upstairs with the baby. And she was like, oh, she's hungry, she needs to eat. And I remember like throwing my legs out the bed and just sobbing, like, oh, I gotta go back down the stairs. And the stairs were really challenging for me simply because I was in so much pain. My body felt so weird. And it's like I wanted to care for her and give her my attention, but I felt like I was in somebody else's body. And it was kind of hard for me to like focus and be in the moment because I just felt really, really different. So I completely understand what you say when you mean, the baby blues.
I think that it's really important. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for being open and transparent. And I think that it's important to have these types of conversations because like you guys mentioned, I think all of you mentioned at one point or another feeling very isolated, feeling very alone. So I imagine that there are hundreds and thousands of other mothers who feel the same, but may not have a support system like we're trying to build here. But then my idea of motherhood, and maybe Carlicia's too, from someone that's not a mother looks very different, I imagine, than someone who is a mother. And I imagine that before you guys became mothers, it looked different than what it feels like now. And so I think it's important to have these really candid conversations so that people can know what to expect, so that we won't have to be like Felicia and say, nobody told me that. We can at least go in with a different sense of awareness and to also take away some of maybe the guilt that comes with these feelings. If you're thinking, I'm not supposed to feel like this, like I shouldn't be crying because my baby's hungry, but actually it's okay because I'm in pain. And sometimes when you're in pain, you cry, but we don't think about it that way if we are focused on our child. So I think it's important to talk about the emotions that come with it, even the ones that may not be necessarily pleasant.
Hey Gather fam, we really hope that you enjoyed the conversation about maternal mental health. That was just part 1, but please join us for part 2, where we discuss emotional changes, mental health counseling for mamas, and what you can do to just feel good as a mother. Thanks for staying connected with us, and we can't wait to gather with you again.